Hello you brilliant, wonderful, fantastic individuals. Now today I want to talk about something, that is very personal to me. I'm autistic. Now if you go around saying, hey, I'm autistic, in some circles they'll interpret that as saying, hey guys, I'm a mathematical genius. And in other circles they'll interpret it as, hey guys, I'm a bit of a spaz. What I want to do is I just want to explain what autism is, how to approach it, and if anybody there is struggling with it, I want to serve as a kind of symbol, that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and being on the autistic spectrum, which I'll explain in a minute, isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's not a disease. It's not necessarily a disorder. It's a set of difficulties and a set of really wonderful attributes, some of which need to be tamed, some of which need to be overcome, some of which can float around free as the wind blows, as free as the grass grows. What I mentioned earlier was something called the autistic spectrum, which all autistic people are on. It ranges from the kind of being a bit odd in social situations to needing a lot of assistance because you're really hypersensitive to kind of everything. Thankfully, right now, I'm more at this end. Whereas about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I've never gotten to this extreme, but I've got to about here, to the point where autism was a strain on my relationships and moulded my personality more than anything else. Now, what being on the autistic spectrum means is that you have certain difficulties with communication, with things like empathy and things. I'm still not very good at non-verbal communication. I used to take things a lot more literally than I needed to. For example, if you said to me 10 years ago, oh, it's raining cats and dogs outside, I'd literally think that it was raining cats and dogs and be genuinely quite worried. Another feature of autism, repetitive behaviours. When I was younger, I used to line up cars, list obsessively, and had, not obsessions, I don't like that word, but specialist subjects, which ranged from Pokemon, dinosaurs, Mr. Men, Dragon Ball Z, and to be fair, it hasn't really changed, which is really quite wonderful. If you see my earlier videos, when I first started up, I talked really obsessively about things like sense and reference. And this is one of the reasons why I say that autism isn't all bad. A lot of autistic people go on to be professors. Newton, Mozart and Einstein have all been said to be autistic. But the final defining feature of autism is hypersensitivity. When I was younger, I used to hate hugs. I used to hate being touched. I couldn't look people in the eye, for example. My friend Jess, who writes so eloquently about autism, I'll put a link to one of her writings, really doesn't like to be touched. But the point of this video isn't to say, woe is me, I'm autistic, or you're autistic, you're fucked for life. Even 2 years ago, the idea of living independently, having a job, looking for a girlfriend, I kind of seemed like the most terrifying things in the known universe. But I'm now living independently, I have a job, I have a set of really beautiful friends, which are just so supportive. Unlike the Joan of 10 years ago, my autism is manageable. I don't go to nightclubs or parties very often. Basically what I want to say is that if you're diagnosed with autism, it isn't the end of the world. What I want to demonstrate, however implausible it may seem, that if you're autistic, all the problems that you have can be overcome if you work at them hard enough. The 10-year-old Joan couldn't have conversations. He couldn't leave the house on his own. He freaked out at school discos. And most importantly, he couldn't talk to you. He couldn't express himself in an appropriate manner. You can do it. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I shall see you soon, you wonderful individuals.